explanation. Council Merrigan, it's your district. Can you tell us why this has been not taken up today? Council Merrigan, please don't be so rude. I don't know. There's no rules here. Can anyone explain? George, were you told that this was not coming up?
No.
No? Is it on the agenda that we were supposed to take this up? Isn't that correct?
This way it works. You had that nomination submitted to you on January 12th. So it's been on your agenda.
January 12th, this candidate has been brought up, and this is unprecedented that we have give my statement that I was going to prepare to give. Today, the Governor's Council is being asked to vote to give advice and consent for Laurie MacLeod to the position of Associate Justice of the Palmer District Court. Although this nominee has been an ongoing candidate for a judgeship, applying a number of times with her husband's donations, she has continually given to Massachusetts candidates, including Governor's Council and former Judge Council Thomas Merrigan for District Council. As the sponsor, I requested, and it was put in force by a former governor and continued by Governor Patrick, I'm happy to say, an executive order that prohibits any judicial nominee from giving contributions to sitting governors, lieutenant governor, most important governor's councilors. When I first got elected, nominees that came before us for our vote were giving political donations to governor's councilors right up to the hearing. My intent was that the judicial nominee be prohibited from donating to the councilors, governor and lieutenant governor, from the very first time she applied for judicial appointment, not to be allowed to continue to give political donations when continuing to pursue the goal of becoming a judge, as in the case of Attorney MacLeod. In the council's questionnaire that we asked every nominee to submit, she is asked to state the political contributions she has given during the preceding 3 years. How much did you contribute to each candidate? This is a straightforward question that every nominee has answered correctly. Yet, Ms. MacLeod's contribution amounts do not match the records of the Office of Political and Campaign Finance. They are very different. If Attorney MacLeod cannot keep track of how much she contributed to political candidates, how can she be expected to keep track of the daily business, the details of the court, the information that holds the lives of those before her in her hands? Just to cite just one donation for one political candidate. Attorney MacLeod gave to Councilor Merrigan, former judge. In her questionnaire, she correctly stated that she and her husband gave him donations in 2006. She made one glaring sin of omission. She did not disclose in her questionnaire under question 6, where she is to give additional information. Although I met with Attorney MacLeod for over 2 hours, she never disclosed this important information that was discovered at the Governor's Council hearing. Under questioning, she stated at her hearing that in 2005, note that, 2005, she donated a political contribution to the Thomas Merrigan for Governor's Council campaign. After she said she had received a letter soliciting funds from this committee, and she responded. When asked at the hearing why under question 6 she did not disclose that in 2005, she recommended Councilor Merrigan's service as a lawyer to a personal injury client of hers on referral fee basis, and if successfully resolved, it hasn't been resolved yet, she will be paid a third contingent fee amount, a third from Councilor Merrigan's law office. She seems to have difficulty with the English language and to keeping proper records. Consider these 3 points. 1, when questioned, why didn't she, under question 6, disclose that she made the referral to Councilor Merrigan in 2005 when Merrigan was a candidate for governor's council. She stated that she did not disclose, that's another thing. That's another thing about the state ethics too. When questioned at her hearing, she disclosed that in addition to giving Merrigan a referral during his campaign in 2005, a few months later, in 2005, she gave him a political contribution that she did not disclose in her questionnaire, and by the way, it's signed under the penalty of perjury. Now, she said in the hearings she didn't disclose this because, on the advice of Councilor Merrigan, who she was meeting with, that he would take care of it with the state ethics. Now, follow this. She signed her questionnaire on February 23rd, 2009. But it wasn't until we met for her hearing on March 4th, Attorney MacLeod's hearing, Councilor Merrigan passed out copies of a letter he submitted asking an opinion of the Ethics Commission. It stated that he made the disclosure that Attorney MacLeod appeared before him, and this is a quote, many, many times in the 10 years when he was a judge. He also disclosed that in mid-2005, remember the 2005 date, Attorney MacLeod recommended his services to a client on a referral fee basis, but guess what? He did not disclose to the state ethics that he was a candidate for governor's council at the same time. At this hearing, Merrigan, I had said at the hearing, Merrigan should recuse himself from presiding on MacLeod's hearing, and also not to vote on her appointment, as it was a conflict of interest. And I'm not a lawyer, but I know this. It's a conflict of interest in violation of 268A that states that one is unduly influenced, etc., and if it's the appearance of a conflict. One important note, when one asks the opinion of the Ethics Commission, the facts presented, in bringing the facts back in question, should the facts be honestly presented? In this letter, Judge Merrigan stated that when Ms. MacLeod referred the client, it happened before he announced his candidacy of governor's council, and stated he announced his candidacy in 2006. Yes, his committee was formed, according to the records of the Office of Political Finance, July 2005. And fundraising letters from his committee were sent out. Attorney MacLeod responded to the letter by sending a contribution. At this hearing, Councilor Merrigan even testified for her after Councilor Iannella stated, quote, to Ms. MacLeod, my gut says the defendant might not get a fair shake in front of you. Councilor Merrigan, testifying for his candidate, responded, and I quote, it is very ironic. People are concerned about her being heavy-handed and prosecutorial. She was the most receptive, open-minded prosecutor that I had ever encountered. You know, the western part of the state is a vast area. There must be hundreds of qualified lawyers, but they all seem to be coming from the Greenfield area, friends of Councilor Merrigan. Last time we had Mr. Masnick, who we campaigned for clerk of courts a couple of years ago. He is not only his landlord, but Mr. Merrigan, Judge Merrigan, shared office space for many, many